Allah is the one, the one, the one, the one.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala nabina Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Wa ala kulli man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin. Wa ba'da a'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi ishrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa ahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, inshallah today we will have a reminder about an important aspect of Islam, and that is the concept of unity in Islam. The concept itself is very broad. It's very difficult to understand basically what unity Islam is talking about. A lot of people have the confusion when it comes to understanding the concept of unity. For example, if I ask you brothers here present, what do you understand by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam calling us to unite? What does it imply? When we say Muslims should unite, and everywhere you go you will hear Muslims talking and debating, calling on unity, unity, unity. What does it mean? What does it imply? How do you understand it? Inshallah, we will go through certain aspects of this important matter of unity, and we will not be able to exhaust all the aspects of unity as commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and as implemented by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. However, we'll go through some major portion of it, what we should do, what we are required to do as Muslims. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created mankind. He made us social beings. He did not create us to live in isolation. He made us to live in community where we need to complement, to support one another in order to live a comfortable life and discharge our obligation toward our Creator. Fulfill the purpose of our creation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran that He is the one who created us in many ayat, in nations and tribes, so that we will recognize one another. So in many narrations of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned and emphasized the concept of unity, and he called on unity and actually constructed unity of the Ummah from the time before his prophethood until his death. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, inna hazihi ummatukum ummatan wahidatan wa ana rabbukum fa'budun. He said, this ummah, meaning this sharia, this religion, is one religion, and I'm your Lord, so worship me. The concept of unity emphasized here is that by us coming together, supporting one another, we achieve, we succeed in building a comfortable life for ourselves and the people surrounding us. It leads to prosperity. It leads to bigger achievement. For example, when somebody is skilled in one area, in mechanics for example, another person is skilled in medicine, another person is skilled in agriculture, we come together, we complement one another. I take my needs from you, and you take your needs from me, and someone else take their needs from us. That's how we should cooperate and build our community and support one another. While we see the opposite of unity is disunity. It leads to lost opportunity. It leads to dispute. It leads to fitna. And this concept, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran that actually fitna is worse than killing. Fitna is worse than killing. So the scholars throughout, they are emphasizing more on unity than any other aspect of the deen. Because when there is chaos, nobody benefits. So that's why Islam emphasizes very much on following the authority, holding on to law and order is a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because when we observe what is happening around the world today, and in particular in some Muslim majority areas where there is loss of control, there is no more central authority to take care of security, take care of justice system, take care of other matters the community needs, we see people taking the law into their own hands, forming groups, and each of these groups going extreme, and each one of them imposing their own law. They don't care about the law that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us, mankind. He has given to the Muslims in particular. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in an authentic narration found in Sahih Muslim, reported in Riyadus Salihin by Imam Nawawi, rahimahullah, hadith Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said, the Messenger of Allah said, verily Allah liked 3 things for you and disapproved 3 things for you. So he is telling us here 3 things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we do them, Allah likes them much from us. But again, he is teaching us 3 things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala disliked from us. He said he liked that you should worship him alone. The first command Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to mankind, that we worship Allah, we do not associate any partner with him. He said, Ya ayyuhan nasu ittagu rabbakum allazi khalaqakum wallazina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. So the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone without associating partners is the first command you will find in the Quran when you go in on the from Surah Al-Baqarah onward. And then do not associate anything in worship with him, and hold fast to the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not be divided among yourselves. Subhanallah. What is the status of the ummah today? Do not be divided. When we divide ourselves, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like it. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling us that Allah does not like us to divide ourselves into groups, sects, and so forth. And then he disapproved for you irrelevant talk. Idle talks, people sit down and talk about anything but not about the deen. Anything but nothing beneficial. They will engage into long discussion about matters that have no benefit to them, even for this dunya, let alone for the akhirah. And then persistent questioning and squandering of wealth. People who go around questioning persistently, talking, asking unnecessary questions, they're not looking for the truth most of the time. They're looking only to challenge. They're looking for questioning. They will ask you why Allah did this, why Allah did that, why Allah commanded this, why Allah did not command that. As believers, Muslims, we hear, we obey. Whether we know the wisdom behind the command or we don't know, we submit to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We know He is the all-knower, the one who has the ultimate knowledge, who is giving the command. You may not know at your own level, with your limited understanding and faculties, you cannot grasp the full wisdom of every command Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given. So you accept some of these commands at their face value, you submit and you surrender to them. This is the attitude of a believer. So in this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the believers, as the hadith mentioned here, that the believers should come together and hold fast to the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the very famous ayat from Surah Al-Imran, ayah number 103, very often quoted whenever we mention about unity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَأَتَسِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ إِذْ كُنْتُمْ أَعْدَاءً فَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِكُمْ فَأَصْبَحْتُمْ بِنِعْمَتِهِ إِخْوَانًا. Subhanallah. He said, وَكُنْتُمْ عَلَى سَفَا حُفْرَةٍ مِنَ النَّارِ. You were at the verge of the fire. So much enmity was between you. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pulled you back into that. He planted the seed of love and brotherhood in your heart. Nothing could bring two warring tribes in Medina before the coming of the Prophet ﷺ to peace. They were fighting for, some scholars said, about 100 years. 100 years, these two tribes fighting each other. Nothing could reconcile them except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought Islam into their heart. People started loving for the sake of Allah and hating for the sake of Allah. So now you don't just see somebody because of their tribe, because of their origin, because of what happened in the past. You judge them according to the new standard Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set. That is, to love people only because they do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded, and you hate people because they are opposing the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're standing on the way of the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in this, when you look at it, you will find no reason anymore to look at people with colors. You don't see the colors of people. You don't see their ethnicity. You don't see their what language they speak. You don't see what job they do. You don't see anything else except that you and them are both commanded to surrender and submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When all of you are doing that, you cannot find anything but love and respect for one another. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the Muslims to be like one body. And this is taught to us by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam through many narrations, many hadiths, and he acted upon it. When we look at the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the migration, when he left Mecca, he came to Medina with the Muhajirun. He found the Ansar. What he first initiated is the concept of brotherhood between the migrants and those who were local. He paired the people, took one Muhajirin and pair him with one Ansar. So in this, the people of Medina were so much open and welcoming that they were ready to share and split anything they have. They split their wealth, they split their land, they split even their families. They were willing to do so. Their wives, they are willing to do that. Subhanallah, how much love and care you can show to somebody. To such an extent, you say, okay, I have my house which has 2 rooms. From now on, this room is yours. It doesn't belong to me. I'm not renting it to you. I'm not lending it to you, but it's your house. How many of us will open a business today and see when the business is running and you see a needy brother and say, you know what, I'm going to split my shop, you take half. You're talking about business here. You're not talking about families. Some of the Ansar, they were willing to divorce some of their wives so that the people who migrated from Mecca could marry them, because they left everything behind. Subhanallah. So unity and coming together are among the commonality Muslims have. The basic things the Sharia is commanding Muslims, and we have every reason to come together. Reason above all other, we have one single belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't have any Muslim who believe in Allah, in deity, in duality or trinity or quadrility or any other form. You believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as one single undivided unit. Qul huwallahu ahad. And when you go to the tafsir of this ahad, it's one that cannot be divided. It's a one that doesn't have different components that you can take out together, as some people believe. That at some point the creator was one single entity, and later on he split. One part become human, another part become spirit, another part become something else. We don't have that in Islam. We have one Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the concept is very clearly defined in Surah Al-Ikhlas. Anybody, any Muslims, the children, they know this surah, and they know most of the time the meaning of the surah. Even the kids, let alone adults. And we know this is the basic fundamental to enter the fold of Islam, that to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without any association, without any kind of imagination that he become his creation. And then we have one book, the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserved the Quran from the first time it was revealed until the last day. He preserved it in many aspects and many layers that we will not go into right now, but one of the 2 aspects, he preserved the Quran, he made it easy to memorize. وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. He made the Quran easy to memorize. Anywhere you go around the world, you will find non-Arabs memorizing this book. They don't speak this language. They don't even know the meaning most of the time, but they have the book in memory. And it's the same book that is recited in all corners of the world. Allah made the Quran also in a book format that every Muslim who is grown in a Muslim environment is able to read and identify the words by himself. If anybody is reading it making mistakes, someone else will correct them, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this one unique book. Unlike in other people, in other belief, they don't even agree on what is their revealed book. In Islam, every single Muslim you will find, they believe in one single book, that is the Quran, the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have one prophet. Nobody disputes the prophethood of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even those who go to all kind of extreme, they still recognize Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To this day, we read in the Quran, we confirm that indeed Muhammadur Rasulullah. And one of the conditions of the Shahada, that you testify there is only one deity and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his messenger. Nobody disputes that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us one direction of the prayer. And when we come to pray, we are not only just facing one direction, but we come together shoulder to shoulder. We put the feet together, we put the shoulders together in a way that we all do the same action together as one single individual. There is no one single unifying things that will bring 2 to 3 million people in one place and make all of them do the same action, except in Islam only. When people are performing the Hajj, the Imam start the khutbah of the Hajj. When he say Allahu Akbar, everybody will remain silent as if there is nobody. If the prayer is starting, it doesn't matter how much noise the people are making. When they hear Allahu Akbar, they will leave everything they are doing, they will rush for the prayer. What else you are looking for? If these things cannot unite us, what else? We have one ummah. We all have the same action. The Chinese, the Africans, the Europeans, the Americans, the Australasian. Everybody performing the same ritual at the same time. Only Islam brings the entire earth to fast in one time. That is the month of Ramadan. What is more unifying than these items we just mentioned here? In order to achieve the unity of the Ummah, Islam urged us to adhere and remain with the Jama'ah. We remain with the group. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to tell the people that the blessing is with the Jama'ah. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught that, he acted upon it. In an authentic narration we find in the book of Imam Tirmizi rahimahullah, he said, Yadullah mal Jama'ah. Authentic narration. The hands of Allah is with the Jama'at. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put blessing wherever the people come together for his sake. Now this coming together is to remain firm on the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, there are a lot of people who have cultural things creeping into this. They say this is the Sunnah, this is the... They don't dispute the Quran. They have serious issues understanding the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And even some, you show them the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they still remain attached to their culture, which is a lack of Iman. We'll come to that inshallah in more details. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enjoined us coming together for all acts of worship in order to achieve unity. To indicate that the Ummah is like one body. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you Muslims, a believer to another believer is like one single entity of the body. If the hand is feeling hurt, the entire body is in pain. If one part of the body is feeling the pain, the whole body is feeling weak. Subhanallah. In another narration, the Prophet ﷺ said, a faithful believer to a faithful believer is like the brick of a house. And he was interlocking his finger when he was indicating that, meaning that you support one another. Can you imagine a whole building resting on one single brick? What will be the situation of that brick? It will crush it. But you see a whole building standing, people going there carrying tons of goods and still holding. What is the secret? Coming together, holding firm to one another. So it's not for nothing that the Prophet ﷺ emphasized on unity so much that he was even reluctant to make the hypocrite known to the community in Medina. He went to one of his companions, he mentioned the name of some hypocrites, munafiqin, who were in the community, but he did not disclose this name to all the community. The main reason is to maintain unity and avoid fitna. Because if some of the companions get to know so and so and so and so they are hypocrite, there will be dissension, there will be division in the community. But he kept silent. He even offered the janaza prayer in some of the hypocrites. So much the main reason is to maintain the unity of the ummah. The Prophet ﷺ, he dealt with situations in a way that if you look at the wisdom behind it, is to maintain the unity of the ummah only. That is the purpose he did it. As long as these are not clashing with the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will tolerate it. So we are not forbidden to cooperate and help one another in matters that is encompassing, that is covering everyone's benefit in the community. An example we can find for this one is the Prophet ﷺ narrating an hadith. He said, all of you like you are in one boat. Hadith is reported by Numan bin Bashir radiallahu anhu. He said, the likeness of the man who observed the limit prescribed by Allah and that of the man who transgressed them is like the people who get on board of a ship after casting lot. Some of them are on its lower deck, some of them on the upper deck. Those who are in the lower deck, when they require water, go to the occupant of the upper deck and they say to them, if we make a hole on the bottom of the ship, we should not harm you. It's in a situation when the people who are on the lower deck of the boat, they need water and they are close to the sea. They could just dig a hole on the boat there and get some water. But no, by doing that, the people of the upper deck, they know if they do that, they will be all sinking. So they better share the reserve of water they have on the upper deck for the people on the lower deck so that the boat will continue its journey. So nobody is hurt. So in all aspects of life, that is beneficial to the community. That the community will identify this is for their well-being. We should cooperate toward that. We should join hands in building that. When we say unity, we have to have in mind that unity is mostly attached to leadership. You can't just say unite, unite, unite. Unite on what purpose? And what will be the end goal of getting together in union, in uniting? So, uniting is for achieving something that is common for the community, that is beneficial to the needy people. When we unite, the best aim, we cannot help as Muslims but to recall the glory of the time when we have righteous leaders. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when he was departing this world, he gave us a very serious warning. He said, I'm leaving you behind the Quran, the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my sunnah, and the sunnah of the rightly guided caliph, the Khulafa al-Rashidin. And these people, they continued on where the Prophet ﷺ has left. They built on that. Some scholars even said this is one of the reasons Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not send any other prophet after the coming of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, because he had men behind him to support him and carry the message and establish the deen throughout the land. So whenever we are holding on to this, we will never be misguided and we will not be divided also. The reason for that, when we recall this glorious time when we had leaders like Umar, like Abu Bakr, like Usman, like Ali, and all those who followed them in righteousness, we see the good they left for mankind. And this continued until we dissociated ourselves with the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ummah became weak. And one of the danger of disunity, one of the cause of weakness is disunity. We lose our strength. Allah mentioned this in the Quran. He said, do not be divided like the people before. They took their scriptures as joke. Some of them believe and some of them disbelieve. So the ultimate goal of every community of believers will be to go back to where we'll have leadership guided by the Quran, the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You cannot help but to aim for this, because this is a glorious time when people were free. People were enjoying security. They were enjoying peace. There was welfare for the needy. And the second level of unity that we can aim is to establish and implement common goals for all the Muslims. We unite at micro levels. In every corner where you have a group of Muslims, they come together, they unite. If we cannot establish one single leadership for the Ummah, we should establish local recognized leadership. This is not difficult to achieve. And then in this, each area or each block should have some principles that respect the basic dignity of the Muslims. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, the right of a Muslim over other Muslims is that they will feel safe with this. Whoever from whom the people are not safe from his tongue and his hands, he is not one of us. So people should not feel threatened by our presence. They should feel comfort instead. So we should establish social targets in every community where we don't have, for example, Muslims who go to bed hungry. This is something most community can achieve. If you achieve that in your area, establish or extend it beyond your area. Reach out to others. Make sure people are not treated unfairly because of their social status, of their level of wealth, or because of the job they do, because of their country of origin, because of the language they speak. This is something every community can achieve. Wherever you have a group of Muslims, we can do that. And then at the third level, we can agree to never fight each other over trivial matters. We have the example of the previous, what is called righteous predecessors, Muslims who came before us. They had disagreements, but they didn't have to fight one another because of those disagreements. They had fundamental disagreements, understanding of the deen, understanding how to conduct affairs of the dunya, but they didn't have to take sword against one another. They cooperated, they tolerated one another. And this is something we can achieve at every level. We allocate the appropriate resources to address the basic needs of the Muslims. That's something every community can achieve. It's not something impossible. Other step toward unity is to make dua to be protected against trials. Things that every Muslim can easily access is by themselves to make dua or when they are alone, aiming for the ummah, something that is better for them, for both of them. The Prophet ﷺ said, when you make dua, on behalf of your Muslim brother who is not present, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala assign an angel to make the same dua for you. So you have a chance for achieving what you are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for your Muslim brother while they are absent. Something very basic. And to remain firm in Iman, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger, never to have doubt about either of them. You will see today in some Muslim communities, people going around asking you questions, debating you about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, debating you about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is shocking. A Muslim going around debating other Muslims about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can understand lack of knowledge. We can understand people having some kind of doubt in certain areas. But debating the fundamentals of the deen while you're still thinking that you are on the right path, this is something very strange for any Muslim. And this is happening in many communities today. Increase in worship and good deeds, mostly in charity. Because when we say we are coming together as one unit, I said we need to set a purpose why we are coming together. We're coming together to set up a dawah organization. We're coming together, we have a target. We have something we want to achieve. You have a goal. It's not just coming together just for the sake of coming together. Otherwise, you will dissociate for no reason also. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered Prophet Musa alayhi salatu wasalam to go and speak to Firaun, Musa alayhi salatu wasalam asked Allah to give him a supporter, somebody he knew will help him. So he identified the person who he knows will support him in his mission. So find out the people who will support you in the goal you are setting. Come together as a group and set out. People will see the goodness you are spreading. They will support you, inshallah. And then spreading knowledge. Increasing our knowledge of the deen will solve most of the problems the ummah will have. Most of the problem we have today in most of the communities around the world is lack of knowledge. When the people understand, it's not about them, it's about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They understand it's not about what I want, it's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. They tend to try now to understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants and how He wants it. This is important. Knowing how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants your worship done, because in that you will avoid all the things that will bring you dispute with other people. When they correct you, you are ready to look at yourself and realize, yes, I need to improve myself in this. I didn't know. I'm ready to learn. But the problem will come when shaitan comes to the people and insinuating to them, or he is belittling you by telling you what to do. The scholars of the past, when somebody corrects them, they are happy. They appreciate it. Someone of the status of Imam Malik, rahmahullah, he was corrected on making wudu. He is teaching in the masjid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Somebody came and told him, no, there is a way to make wudu that you are not teaching. And he was ready to listen. He told him, he used to teach the people, you don't need to split your toes and wash in between when you're making the wudu. And there is an authentic narration of the Prophet ﷺ that he was not aware of on this. So you should wash between your toes when you are making wudu. And the student corrected Imam Malik on this. He accepted it. He started teaching it. How about us today? You go to the masjid or to any place where you see Muslim coming together, you tell him, brother, honestly and sincerely, I want to advise you. This is the way you make wudu. You don't need to wipe over your neck, because when we are told in steps to follow in wudu, wiping the neck is not part of it. If you're not careful, you will start a fight there. This is only one single example. And then spreading knowledge by bringing the ummah back to the very basic, to follow the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. This will solve all the differences we have. And then exercising patience, knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is well aware of the action of the wrongdoers. You have to exercise a lot of patience when you are dealing with people. They will stubbornly stick to what they know or what they are commonly practicing, even though if it's wrong. You show them with proof, they still want to follow the old ways. And the other step is for you to lower your expectation from people and focus on self-learning and improvement. Because there is a time when you don't have to go around fighting the people. You need to improve your own level, your own standard. Sometimes the dispute we bring is something that is acceptable within the Sharia. Because people lack knowledge, they will argue about it. Example, differences in fiqh. Differences in making the iqamah, for example, for the salat. There are 3 authentic narrations from the Prophet ﷺ we can follow to make the iqamah. Well, if you are not aware, somebody coming from some part of the world and come to Hong Kong, where we make the iqamah just like we make the adhan, you will start fighting with people. So that's why it's important, before you jump into attacking and correcting other people, you go learn first. Go have the basic understanding. Understand that there are some basic things that are agreed upon. The scholars of Islam, they never fight one another. They have disagreement in certain issues, but they never fought about it. And then always relate matters, every matter, to a situation, how the Prophet ﷺ responded to that situation. It's not everything that can be resolved by arguing, by fighting, by putting people on the spot. There are some matters that can be dealt with better ways, wisdom. How the Prophet ﷺ responded to certain hostile situation. His way of handling the situation changed the whole scenario. And the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ has so many incidents in this line. We will not go into that. So we say unity, by it should have a purpose, is that you will start by the heart. You love for other people what you love for yourself. This is one of the statements the Prophet ﷺ made. He said he is not a Muslim, the one who does not love for his fellow Muslim what he loves for himself. And this is not only taught by the Prophet ﷺ, by previous prophet also. And even by people whom we cannot confirm they are messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this statement. So it's only fair, when you want goodness for yourself, you want it for other people, this will bring love between you. And it will unite you. And to tolerate and manage differences arising from our figures. Figure, yes, there will be some differences in understanding, but bring them back to the Quran and the Sunnah. whenever we have any difference, we should not fight over it. We have the source to resolve it. The source to resolve it is to go back to the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. You telling me I'm not supposed to do something, bring me the hadith. Point the ayah to me. I will not have any argument with you. Because in that I will be disputing the command of Allah. I will be disputing with the messenger of Allah. If a clear hadith, authentic, is narrated to me, I have no choice but to submit to it. And then Allah created people and made us different. He said He has created you in different nations and tribes so that you recognize one another. You will complement one another. It doesn't mean you have to make everybody be like you. Unity does not mean uniformity or conformity. We are all the same. The same clothes I'm wearing, everyone must wear the same clothes, same color. Nobody is allowed to wear white because I'm black, I wear black. Nobody is allowed to speak a different language because I speak this language and only me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created those differences. We should accept them and get to know this is the reality Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His ultimate wisdom choose for mankind. He created us in different nations and tribes. And in Surah Luqman He mentioned that from His mercy He created you and made between you mercy and rahmah. Mercy and love and mercy. And He mentioned our colors. You cannot say because this man is not from this nation, he doesn't speak this language, he is not, you have to despise them. No. You have to understand the limit, that this is the limit of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another very important aspect that will bring unity in the community is that they should focus and highlight the things that is most pressing to them. For example, in our community here, just an example, Muslims have difficulties organizing Hajj. Muslims have difficulties having nikah. Muslims have difficulties having their kids circumcised. These are priorities of the Muslim community. And it doesn't matter what kind of manhaj, jazakumullah khairan, manhaj you are following, but we have this in common. No Muslim is disputing that the Hajj is an obligation upon every Muslim. So we focus on solving that issue, make Hajj easy for the Muslims. We focus on issue how to make nikah accessible to those who need. We focus on making life easy for those who want to circumcise their male children. And these are issues locally Muslims can come together and resolve them in a way that you jointly push your effort together. And then spread goodness through charity. When there is a needy Muslim who doesn't have a shelter, Muslims should come together and provide this basic need. When a Muslim is sick, they need medical care, Muslims should come together and help. These are things Muslims can unite together with a purpose. It's something that we can achieve. Causing disunity, the Prophet ﷺ said in an authentic narration in Tirmidhi, he said, "Should I not tell you of something that is better than fasting, prayer, and giving charity?" The companion said, "Yes, indeed, O Messenger of Allah." He said, "Reconcile between people, for causing division among them is the shaver." Meaning that causing division among the people will cause the person to dissociate from the community, and eventually they will lose their faith. So this is dangerous. So the Prophet ﷺ forbade us from going around finding fault and backbiting the Muslims. You only have good expectation from other Muslims. You have a good excuse until something else becomes clear to you. Otherwise, you have no reason to go around and pushing them in the hand of shaitan. When you see people falling off, you have to take them back. Even though the Prophet ﷺ predicted that in the time to come after him, many generations later on, this division will come. On one of the journey he was going on with the companion, he gathered them together. He mentioned something very interesting. He said, for this ummah, it will have sound state in its early stage of existence, but in the last phase of its existence, it will face trials and with things that you do not recognize. Yes, we see some very interesting practices that are done today in the Muslim Ummah. We don't recognize that as Muslims. I think some of the events just happened last week, if not even a week now. We don't recognize these things as Muslims, but Muslims are busier in these events and activities than the non-Muslims who originally started this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in the Quran that the people who said that he has begotten a son, they're making this statement. They are making a grave statement to such an extent that the sky is about to split. The earth is about to open up because of the enormity of their statement. Yet, you find a Muslim coming and wanting to crucify other Muslims for not celebrating Christmas. The Prophet ﷺ ended toward the end of the hadith, he said, whoever wishes to be removed from the fire and admitted to Jannah should die with faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the last day, and should treat others as he wishes to be treated. This is very simple thing. Treat other people as you wish to be treated. And the hadith is very long, we will not mention. Differences raising from understanding of the deen, they can be easily resolved if there is a goodwill. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us how to deal with that in the Quran. He said, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu ati'ullah wa ati'ur rasul. O you who believe, obey Allah and obey the messenger of Allah. Wa ulil amri minkum, and those who are in authority among you. Fa in tanaja'atum fi shay'in farudduhu ila Allah. If you dispute among yourself anything about any matter, return it back to Allah wa Rasul and his messenger. In kuntum tu'minuna billahi wal yawmil akhir zalika khairun wa ahsana ta'wila. If you believe in the last day that Allah will call you back and judge between you, this is better for you. So there is no issue of fighting one another when we have differences in understanding the deen. Return back, find what is authentic and follow that. You don't have to fight people because they corrected you. So if we believe in Allah, we believe in the last day, we return all our dispute regarding the deen to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have two options. Option number one, every matter regarding the deen should be solved by the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ as understood by the companion. And the other matters, they are matters of the dunya. We are not forbidden to deal with other people in the dunya matters. And we know in Surah Luqman, when he was advising his son, same, he said, if they are ordering you, meaning your parents are ordering you on matters that you associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do not obey them. But in matters of the dunya, be kind to them. Be kind to them And this applies to every other person, not only parents, to all mankind. So, one of the most interesting factor or the instigating factor of disunity is arrogance. People who act in an arrogant manner, they are stubbornly rejecting the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, even though the truth comes to them, even though they have no evidence on what they are following, and when they are shown something that they are not used to or is contrary to their culture, they stick to it and start attacking the people. Imam Ahmad rahimahullah narrated from Abu Nadra, someone who heard the khutbah of the Prophet ﷺ on the second day of Tashriq, meaning that on the day of Arafah, on the Hajj last sermon, he said, "O people, verily your Lord is one Lord, your Father is one," meaning that we are all from Adam. Verily there is no superiority of an Arab over a non-Arab, or of a non-Arab over an Arab, or of a red man over a black man, or of a black man over a red man, except in terms of taqwa. Have I conveyed the message? They said, yes. O Messenger of Allah, you have conveyed the message. So this again brings us unity regardless of our colors and origin. If we want to stick to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have no reason not to come together, because all differences can be resolved by going back to the sources. And then steps how to respond to differences. We respond to differences in an acceptable manner. Situation arise and we respond with good manners. Whenever you have any situation in front of you, you need to determine how you are responding. Is it to feed your ego or to respond in a way that is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We should focus on what is pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by asking, is this the way Allah wants me to respond? You bring good manners. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the best in manners. That's what he was sent for. And recognize that there is a divine wisdom in differences. Judge differences by what appear to you that is the best way to handle them. And leave matters that you cannot resolve to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to judge, because Allah at the end of the day is the ultimate judge. He will bring us all back together. He will judge between us. He said, فَإِلَى اللَّهِ مَرْجِكُمْ ثُمَّ to Allah you will return, and He will judge between you as to the matters you differed. The matters that we disagreed upon, Allah will judge between us on the day of judgment. Finally, final warning: when you exhaust all options, you need to remind yourself and the people around you that we should only come together upholding the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make them prevail. Because if we choose what is pleasing to a group of people over another group of people, it will defend interests only. We will defend one group against another, and everyone has their own desire. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has no benefit in setting the rules, is the one who knows what benefits everyone else. So Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَمَنْ يُسَاقِقِ الرَّسُولَ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ الْهُدَى وَيَتَّبِعْ خَيْرَ سَبِيلِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ نُوَلِّهِ مَا تَوَلَّى وَنُسْلِهِ جَهَنَّمَ وَسَاءَتْ مَصِيرًا. And whoever opposes the messenger after guidance has become clear to him and follow other ways other than the way of the believers, we leave him what he has taken and drive him to hell. What an evil destination. So do not split with the ummah. Do not split with the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ because of culture, because of ego, because of dunya matters. Hold on to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even if everyone else is rejecting you. That is the way to success. I think that's all I have to say in this. If you have any comment or questions, I'm sure I have left out a very important point, but please feel free. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Any questions?
Yes, brother.
My question is that what advice would you give to those people who may disagree with Muslims? So a Muslim will disagree with another Muslim on deen matter, and they choose to isolate from one another.
Right.
Is this allowed?
Okay, the brother is asking, I repeat the question because he's asking what advice we give to a Muslim who disagree with another Muslim on matters of the deen, and they cut off the relation because of that. In this, the Prophet ﷺ gave us a very systematic way to handle it, and he said, Rasulullah ﷺ said, it is not befitting for any Muslim to forsake his Muslim brother over a period of 3 days. You cannot forsake the person even for serious dispute. Now, let alone this disagreement is not about your personal thing, it's about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you have a dispute with somebody regarding the deen, go back to the sources. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in this ayat here. He said, if you disagree over anything, return the matter to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. Look at how the Quran set the rules. Look at how the Sunnah tells us how to deal with that particular situation. Whoever has the evidence, we should follow that person. It's not about proving someone wrong. It's about following what is right. And what is right is only what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said is right. It's only what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught the people, this is the right way. Apart from that, the person should not have any room to dissociate with the Muslim relative or even not relative just because of a simple argument. Because this is not personal. It's about the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you are sincere, go back and look. If what the person is calling you onto is authentic, found, sound, follow it. It means somebody who aim good for you. If he is not, then the person has every right to dissociate with you also. Because again, in Surah Luqman, ayah 15, he said, وَإِنْ جَاهَدَاكَ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ إِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِيعْهُمَا. If they call you onto something that that will lead to the shirk of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, associating partners with Allah, you have to dissociate yourself with them. But as for the matters of the dunya, you have to deal with them in goodness.
So the people who are doing shirk, can we unite with them? So basically non-Muslims or anybody who are clearly doing shirk.
Right. In this, again, the ayat is very explicit. You cannot associate with people doing shirk. In the very beginning of Surah Al-Ma'idah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ta'awanu bil birri wa taqwa, wa la ta'awanu bil ismi wal udwan. You cannot help the people who are committing shirk, because by you associating with them, you are helping them. You are making them feel what they are doing is the right thing. You are part of it. In this, you cannot contribute to that. You have to dissociate yourself with them. And there is nothing wrong in you pulling out and telling them you are not with them on this because this is your faith, this is your belief. You affirm it, there is nothing wrong with that. And in this, we have to accept to disagree with the people, and they should not force us to agree with them anyway. It is not part of my belief, I don't believe in it. You cannot force me to believe in it. It's like forcing somebody to love you. Take a knife or a sword, say you love me. It won't work. It won't work. So the matters of faith, if somebody is calling you to shirk, you have every reason to disagree with them. with hikmah, of course. Jazakumullah khair.
Islam is like religion, but some people is like maybe associated with some politic issue or something, make it more politic. So should I follow it or just plain Islam itself? I mean,
Political Islam.
you do know what I mean? I mean, is a religion or something with politics or just
Like, yeah.
Brother is asking, some people are calling you to, and they associate politics and Islam. Should I follow them or should I not follow?
I mean, maybe see a group, maybe see some comments.
Mhm.
They always deal with some associate with politics things. So I think I just tell them it's a religion. Why you mix with this to that? So
Right. In our current time, it's very difficult to handle such situation, by the way, because a lot of people, they now it is almost separate religion and politics in many countries. However, Islam put responsibilities on every individual to act within their community, within their circles of influence, so that harm will not reach the community. In that, you have to engage and participate as much as you can, but within your reach. This is your responsibility. If any harm is coming to the community where you are living and you are able to act to relieve the suffering or to prevent it from other people, this is what Allah is commanding the Muslims to do. When the Prophet ﷺ said, every one of you is a shepherd. You understand this hadith? Every one of you is responsible of something. You have to take that responsibility according to the means available to you. But it doesn't mean you have to vote for somebody or not vote for someone else. That's a different debate. Yes, brother.
Yes, yeah. I mean, as you said, we have a lot of things in common. I mean, we worship one Allah, and we have the Quran. I mean, we have many things in common. But still, people disassociate with over trivial things. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, how much? I mean, if we have, I mean, in common, we can still be united. I mean, or to what extent or to what level we should be disassociated or leave one another. I mean, for example, like in my country, some people, I mean, the basmala, bismillah rahman rahim in the prayer, some imams would say it loud when they are praying, but some would hide it, like we would say it in
Silent.
yeah, in silence. So like some people who believe in one interpretation would not pray with them. Like, you know, they say, yeah, this mosque is really, you know, they pray this way, so I'm not really joining them. Maybe I would look for another mosque or another masjid which I can pray with them. So like, I mean, we have many things in common. But
Okay, in these issues, Muslims should distinguish when to decide not to pray behind someone and when it is allowed. Minor differences, like the brother described, somebody reciting the bismillah aloud at the beginning of the salat, and some people not reciting it at all or reciting it in silence. These bring disputes among the people, and in some communities go beyond that, is raising the hands during they call it rafa yadain, raising the hands at the takbir, when you're going for ruku, when you're coming out of the ruku, when you come up for the second rakat. There are some issues, I mean, people who have issues with that. While these are the authentic narration found in the Sahih book, the book of hadith, that are fully authentic, no scholar have any dispute about them. But yet, you will find other people fighting you over that. You'll find people fighting you when you say Ameen, when the Imam say Waladdallin, the people behind, some people say Ameen aloud, some people don't say it. And if you say it Ameen aloud, they look at you like, you are so strange. Why are you reciting Ameen? You're saying Ameen so loud. Subhanallah, the people take these into fight, which is very sad. Because again, it goes back to learning the basic of the deen. If you learn the deen, you will understand that this, what is authentic and what is not authentic. And if somebody is doing it, they have reason, they are proving it, we have no issue accepting that. And nobody else should have issues accepting what is authentically narrated from the Prophet ﷺ if you are a Muslim. So, yes, fiqh matters, as I mentioned, these are issues of fiqh, understanding, even though these understanding, when you look at them deep, you will find who is right. But the moment they are agreed upon by the schools of thought that are fully recognized by the Muslims, you don't fight people over them, but you follow what you believe is authentic and right. For example, the Rafa' Yadayn is narrated authentically. That is what the Prophet ﷺ did in his last part of life. Not only that, all his life. All the time he has been praying, this is how he is doing it. Now somebody is coming and tell you or me not to do it, I will say, give me a proof. I will not settle to satisfy you by not raising my hands while this is what the Prophet ﷺ did. You, the one telling me not to do it, you should stop fighting me instead. So, of course, there are many issues around this, but the fiqh matters has to be understood in the context. And as long as there is a genuinity behind, it is accepted. The example, I will finish by this quickly, inshallah, is when the Prophet ﷺ commanded some of his companions to go to Banu Qurayza. Some of them, he said, do not pray Asr until you reach there. Some of them understood this is a literal thing. They should not pray Asr even if it's Asr time. Some of the companions say no. And the Prophet ﷺ cannot lift a command that Allah has given. He said, Inna salata kanat alal mu'minina kitaban mawquta. The prayer is enjoined upon the believers at an appointed time. When it is time for prayer, we have to pray. So one group pray, another one didn't pray. But the Prophet ﷺ, when this news came to him, he was asking them, he said, what did you understand? There was genuinity in them. They understood they should not pray Asr even though it's time. But this is genuine. Today, we have Muslims who are not genuinely looking for the truth. They will reject it because they think this is the practice of Muslim coming from this country or that area. And they start giving you labels. You understand? So this is things that we should look at as Muslims. Instead of looking now for fatwas, you look for taqwa. What is in your heart that is really in line with the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the most important. Not now the opinion of any other scholar. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Question, brother? Barakallahu fi. Done.
Actually, I found something different from this Talmis pray, and in the one J Majid, there's
My Allah is the one, the one, the one.